Matt, how quick of an impact do you think Luke will make? What do you attribute the growth of higher recruits joining on the defensive side of the ball? Well, in terms of how quickly players are going to grow, I want to see camp, and I want to see how they fit in, and in terms of live reps and blending in with the team. In June, I just do not if you ask me about Jaden Mayava, I don't know what Jaden Mayava is going to bring to USC. I obviously hope it's going to be the best. I can see a good scenario. I can see a bad scenario playing out. So it's similar with just about every other unproven player. So I'm not gonna put down a marker. It's just too early. I need to see something tangible before I have more of a feel and can make a stronger prediction. But the second question, what do you attribute the growth of higher recruits joining the defensive side of the ball? I think it's pretty simple. That you have some stone cold professionals on the defensive side of the ball, and Lincoln Riley finally stockpiling real pros, elite coaches in terms of technique, in terms of culture, in terms of work ethic, and now supplemented by Trumaine Carroll, Coach Carroll at USC. There's a product, there's a professionalism that we didn't have on this staff a couple years ago, and recruits can see that. Recruits can see that. They can understand it. They know that it means it's their ticket, not just to the NFL, but to a good placement on the draft board, which is real dollars, for a professional future. So all of that, USC has, in terms of USC staff, the defense is where the superstars are. Now, Lincoln Riley, he had several great years as a play caller, but of course he stepped into a pothole last season. But the other point to remind everyone about is that, USC does not yet have a proven skull crusher at offensive line coach. That is what we need to see. I think that's the big question regarding this year's team. It was the big question for last year's team, and it didn't quite hit the mark. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the elite standard. So on the defensive side of the ball, there's a stone cold pro coaching every position group with an elite coordinator who knows exactly what he's doing. Recruits can see how well run this ship is. They want to be part of it. It just makes sense. So thank you, Gixer, for those questions. Ethan, any comments on either this or on Russ Campbell's point about the early cycle recruits being the scheme fits, and the late signees, the late enrollees, maybe being more scramble type situations?
Yeah, first on Gixer's question, I think it's like you said. I mean, we haven't seen Luke Welful on campus yet, so it's hard to project super early. But from everything that I've seen, he's really muscular, but also it's a lot of really lean muscle, and he's really fast. So he should be someone who's really disruptive in the backfield, and he's someone who has proven himself against a lot of college adjacent talent in high school, a lot of college prospects and kind of college size. So yeah, he's for sure a guy who I could see contributing early, like Bowman. Sorry, Matt, did I blink out for a second there?
It could be from my end. Go ahead.
Oh, so sorry about that, guys. I think my Wi-Fi took a bit of a hit there. But yeah, I think that he certainly could contribute early, and yeah, definitely recruiting is in large part due to the staff being shored up, and I think also the NIL getting in order, and also last year, I think that USC went out and proved that they can have a good defense. It wasn't a great defense. It wasn't an elite defense, but it was a good defense. It was a defense with stars on it. It was a defense that made plays. It was a defense that had some swag. So, USC proved that they're not just, an offensive They're not going to become just this offensive juggernaut that throws defense to the wind under Lincoln Riley. Like they're a school that prioritizes defense, and you can come and be an elite defensive player and an elite potential defensive draft pick at the school. So I think that played a part in it. And it's not just one and done guys either, like Tuli Pelotu, because across the defense last year, guys were showing potential. It was already developed guys that came in like Kamari Ramsey and the Arnold brothers, but there was also guys like Cameron Fountain on the defensive line who were freshmen that got less playing time but still showed some potential. Some of that younger talent was able to showcase what they had a little bit. So it showed that there was definitely a lot more balance than just USC plugging all the holes and that being it. But so I think last year's performance definitely matters as well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I look forward to seeing the defense continue to improve, because I think the more years that you have Danton Lynn in the building, and the more time that he has to develop his guys that he got in the building, it's just going to get better.